Hey everyone, welcome back to Friday 5 on Fear-Free Passive Investing. All right, welcome. My name is Lucas Miller, host of Fear-Free Passive Investing. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you're listening on the podcast, great to have you here. Today is Friday 5, where we talk for 5 minutes, give or take, about issues that passive investors need to know before making their next investment. The inspiration for this week's show came from my email inbox, actually. I've been looking up and opening monthly reports from the properties that I'm invested in. And I thought, what better topic of discussion than what you should expect in a monthly report when you invest in a property. So I was having coffee with a friend who passively invested in 2 different deals, and neither of them were mine. But he was telling me that when I asked how those deals were going, he said, well, one's going good and one's going not so good. I said, what's the problem with the not so good one? And he said, well, the communication has been lacking. And it kind of struck me like, he's not worried about the deal failing. First thing he said was the communication is lacking. That's interesting because it's not so much the deal that mattered to him, it's how he felt from the communication side. He said the other deal that he is invested in is going really well, and the sponsor is overly enthusiastic to talk to him and communicate how the property is doing. And as a result, he feels more confident in that deal. Why is communication so important to people? My theory is that people just like being informed. When they feel left out, it gives them a bad taste for things. It's a lens that distorts everything you see about the deal if you don't feel comfortable in the communication style. So the deal could be going fine, but if you don't hear about it or it's not being communicated well, you might not think that. Of course, when communication is lacking, your first reaction is to assume the worst, right? Assume things are not going well. So I just thought we'd talk today about what you should expect. So to start, in my mind, you should be getting monthly reporting. Some people go to quarterly, and too much happens month to month for you not to get updates. I should preface this by saying that the majority of what I do is value add deals. And so when that value is being added, so much can change month to month. Now, when a property is stabilized and there's not really a whole lot to update, I can see switching to quarterly reports. So your mileage may vary. You might be happy with quarterly, but I really like to know what's going on. Next, you should get just a brief narrative of the property, like what's going on, what are they working on, what's going well, what's not going well. Just a brief, maybe 1, 2, max 3 paragraphs of what they're working on and the high level of the property over the last month. Also, you really want to know where occupancy is at. Pre-lease numbers and actually leased numbers are really very helpful. That's a really good indicator of the strength of the asset is where things are going with occupancy, and if it's going up, if it's going down. If it's going down, is there a story behind that? If it's going up, is it the market or is it the on-site person? What's driving that indicator? And obviously, next you want to hear about what the status is on the next distribution. You want to know when you're going to get paid again, right? How much? Are there any delays? Is this above what they're projecting? Is it below what they're projecting? And you really want to get that hammered out so you can budget for yourself too. And then also, I really like to see an update on income and expenses, like where we stand financially. You could do this through, again, a narrative where you say, okay, here's where we're at with income, here's where we're at with expenses. But I personally like to see the actual numbers. Now, you might not care about that. I would imagine a lot of people don't care about that. So that just is me. But if I'm choosing from a menu, I would love to have that too. Okay, and finally, this is kind of an intangible, but it's something I think about every time I write any sort of copy or any sort of update that's going to be read by an investor or a potential investor. And it's the intangible that you should finish reading whatever it is, like in this case, the monthly report, and not feel like you are a customer, but feel like you're an investor. That's really important to me, that I never want to make people feel like they're just another number in a long line of people who are waiting to do deals with me because I'm so great. No, I want everybody to know that they are just as important as the next person and the last person. After all, they are part owners of the company, and they deserve open and frank communication, both when things are going well and when they're not going well. And I'll just end by saying, before investing, you can always ask to see an example of what the communication is like from the sponsor. They might give you one, they might not. I'm not really sure what they would feel like, but you can ask them what you can expect in a quarterly report or a monthly report. And that's all I got for Friday Five. We might actually hit pretty close to 5 minutes on this one. I hope everyone has a great weekend. I can't wait to talk to you next week, where we'll have another video, another podcast, and another Friday Five. Talk to you then.